Welcome back to Smarter Green Living. If you have ever used an AI chatbot, an image generator, or video tool, you may have wondered about the power behind the AI output. The purpose of this video is to explain the basic operating system behind AI, how it's powered, cooled, and practical steps that can make AI more sustainable. When you type an AI prompt, it goes to a data center, a building designed to contain large numbers of computers, servers, networking equipment, and cooling systems. These machines process, store, and move data such as your AI prompts, and they use lots of energy while doing so. Because they generate heat, they also need water for cooling to keep them operating safely. How does this work? We can relate this to when a laptop works for a long time, it gets warm and the fan turns on to cool it down. A data center is similar in that way, but a data center is scaled up massively. We are talking thousands of powerful machines working continuously, often day and night. And that requires constant cooling of the systems to remove the heat generated, and constant power to keep the systems running 24/7. For smooth operations of the data centers, the buildings must be connected to a reliable grid, and sources of power may be shared between fossil fuels and renewable energy. Within the physical infrastructure are data centers, chips, servers, cooling systems, cables, substations, backup power, water systems, construction materials, and electricity grids. To be clear, AI's carbon footprint is less when compared to industries such as manufacturing, transport, and the likes that takes larger part of the global energy system. However, as AI is becoming one of the fastest growing sources of electricity and water demand, especially as companies build more data centers, it's hard to believe the rate of renewable energy generation will match the rate of AI growth. The International Energy Agency estimated that data centers consumed about 415 terawatt-hours of electricity in 2024, around 1.5% of global electricity consumption, and projects that global data center electricity use could rise to around 945 terawatt-hours by 2030, just under 3% of global electricity consumption. The key issue here is that the annual AI electricity demand is often outstripping the annual growth in renewable capacity. That makes the challenge more about reliability rather than capacity. So the right question is, will the rapid increase in AI computer powers and data centers be able to match energy demand with the current grid congestion and the 24/7 baseload requirements? Based on this, data center energy demand could lead to a surge in natural gas, despite clean energy goals. If investment in grid infrastructure and battery storage lags, it will be hard for renewables to keep up, leading to a temporary increase in fossil fuel reliance. It's not news that AI requires storage, stronger grids, interconnectors, substations, transformers, demand flexibility, and reliable low-carbon backup. However, it is possible that when nuclear power becomes successfully integrated with renewables, the gap between AI growth and clean power can be bridged by 2030. Meanwhile, natural gas is used to balance supply and demand, especially when demand rises quickly or renewable generation is low. Some grids also still rely on coal, and many data centers use diesel generators for emergency backup. Recently, the International Energy Agency, IEA, projects that renewables will meet a large share of additional data center electricity demand. But it also says natural gas and coal together are expected to meet over 40% of additional electricity demand from data centers until 2030. How realistic is that? Now let's talk about how AI uses our drinking water. The simple answer is for cooling. Servers produce heat, and to keep the system running safe, water helps remove heat from the system. Water sourcing varies by site, region, and cooling design. Some data centers use relatively little potable water, some use non-potable or recycled water, and some cooling technologies to reduce direct water use. But why is this a challenge? Data centers can increase pressure on local water resources, especially in areas already experiencing drought, water stress, population growth with competing water demand for farming, households, and public services. A data center built in a cool, wet region with enough water and excellent water management system is very different from one built in a hot, dry region already facing water stress. A UK report on water use in AI and data centers states that AI growth is driving an often underestimated increase in water consumption, mainly for cooling data centers and for generating the electricity they require. The UK government's Sustainable ICT blog also explains that AI uses water directly at data centers for cooling, indirectly for energy generation during hardware manufacturing. There is no doubt that AI is also part of the sustainability solution, as the technology helps reduce waste, improve planning, and operate systems more efficiently. But the local sustainability impact of data center on water demands in a dry region will be worse than in a wet region. Is it worth saying that AI use and service delivery is worth the risk? Does AI's high-value uses justify the possible extended reliance on fossil fuels? And should the focus be on whether AI benefits outweigh the net zero goals if energy demand does not match renewable energy supply? Meanwhile, the future of AI sustainability is not fixed. One possible future could be more carbon emission where AI demand grows quickly and clean power and storage could not keep up. In that future, data centers cluster in places where the grids are already overloaded. Water-intensive cooling demands for data centers located in dry regions intensifies. Another future is data centers at locations where clean power, grid capacity, and water resources are surplus, where AI and storage grow alongside renewable generation. A future where data centers use efficient chips and cooling systems, wasted heat is reused where practical, water use is measured and reduced. AI is prioritized for useful projects, improving grids, reducing waste, supporting hospitals, upgrading homes, optimizing transport, detecting leaks, reducing industrial waste, and helping climate adaptation. In that future, AI supports sustainability rather than undermine it. So what can be done to make AI more sustainable? There are 7 practical steps that can reduce AI's environmental impact. First, data centers need more clean power generation, as more than the paper claims. AI companies should also help finance new solar, wind, geothermal, hydro where appropriate, maybe nuclear in some regions, and other low-carbon sources depending on geography. Second, storage should grow alongside clean energy. Long-duration storage for energy demand balancing is harder, but likely to become more important as electricity systems become cleaner. Third, grid upgrades planning before large AI campuses are built. Planning should consider grid capacity, water demand, emissions impact, and community benefit. Fourth, cooling systems should be designed around local conditions because data centers can reduce water pressure through air cooling in suitable climates, closed-loop liquid cooling, direct-to-chip cooling, recycled or non-potable water where safe, careful site selection and heat reuse. Fifth, waste heat reused where practical. Data centers produce heat, and in some locations that heat can support district heating, nearby buildings, greenhouses, or industrial processes. This is not suitable everywhere, but where heat demand is nearby and infrastructure exists, it can improve overall resource efficiency. Sixth, AI models and chips efficiency. Not every task needs the largest model. Using a large AI model for a simple task is like using a lorry to deliver one envelope. More sustainable AI means using smaller models for simpler tasks, better software optimization, model compression, caching common responses, and using non-AI tools where they are sufficient. Finally, companies should improve on transparency. They should report their true electricity use, location-based emissions, market-based emissions, water use, water source, backup fuel use, hardware lifecycle impacts, waste heat recovery, grid impact. Without real transparent reporting, sustainability claims are too easy to exaggerate. The technology industry is driven by growth, and sustainability requires discipline, which might lead to tension without balance. Who knows? Maybe if AI can justify its large energy and water use while creating real-world value greater than its environmental impact, it will be truly sustainable. In short, AI uses a lot of water and electricity. It does not automatically increase fossil fuel emissions, but if clean power, storage, and grid upgrades do not match its growth, some of the extra demand may be met by gas, coal, or diesel-backed systems. More importantly, AI used to improve energy systems, reduce waste, support healthcare, manage buildings, and strengthen public services can be worth the energy or water use. Remember, sustainability is about using resources wisely, and a sustainable future is about building smarter systems that supports the global society. If you found this helpful, subscribe to Smarter Green Living for practical videos on sustainable living, smarter homes, and better everyday decisions without the guilt, hype, or greenwashing. See you in the next one, and thank you for watching.